Recently, I had a very neat and unique dream. In this dream, I was walking alongside a huge group of people. I'm going to estimate about 100, 120 people. I knew some of them, some I didn't know. And we were walking down a road. Now, it was night and it was dark, but we were just kind of casually walking. And we were walking up into a city. We're walking down the main street of a city. And as we were walking, we were just kind of casually talking. And as we started walking down this main street, you started to see the different shops and businesses along the side. Some had different signs, some had different advertisements, and there were people inside of these shops, and some had like neon signs. And so people were kind of looking around at the different signs. But as we got into the city, I saw something very weird. I saw these fish strings hanging down with small hooks on them. And they started coming down one after another. And I was kind of walking and talking to people and being polite. And I started kind of dodging the fish hooks and the lines. And they were real thin lines and small hooks. But some people would get caught and they would get yanked up one after another. As we kept walking down this long street, I noticed that there was like something at the very end of the street. And it was like a bright light, and I was walking towards it. And I felt the Lord say, that right there is destiny. That is the end of a season. That is the mark that you're walking towards. And I was walking. And as we started walking, I started seeing numerous people get caught by these fish hooks and lifted up. And as we kept walking and we started moving forward, all of a sudden the strings that were hanging down, they were a little bit bigger. They were a little bit stronger. The hooks were a little bit bigger. And I noticed that somebody might look at somebody and start talking to them. And as they would start talking to them, they weren't watching where they were going and they would just get yanked up. And then there were some people that would get so nervous by the hooks, they just quit moving forward. But other people kept moving forward and they would kind of, casually still talk, but they would keep focused on where they were going. And they would go to the left and they would go to the right and they would kind of, watch out for these hooks. And as we kept going further, once again, the strings coming down got bigger and stronger, and the hooks got bigger. The hooks would come down, and you could tell that their points were sharper. And all of a sudden, people just kept getting lifted up one after another. And as we got towards the end of the street, I noticed that the signs on the sides of the building were bigger. They were brighter. The colors were more elaborate. The people inside the buildings were louder. And you would get caught up looking, or you would get caught up looking at everything around you, but you would get your focus off of the end of the road. And as we started walking down, the hooks started getting bigger. The lines that would come down would get wider and stronger. And when we got towards the end of the road, I noticed there was only just a handful of people beside me. Where had everybody gone? What had happened to everybody? When we started, there was about 100, 120 people. And when we got to the end, there was only about 7 or 8 of us. Where did everybody go? Every time you step into a new season, every time you step into a new level, the enemy is always going to fight you, but you have to keep focused. You have to keep your mind set on what God has called you to do. If you get caught up looking at the buildings or the people in the buildings or the signs, it just will pull you out of the path that God has for you. Like I said, when we got towards the end of the street, you could hear more commotion going on inside of the buildings. The signs were bigger and brighter with more colors. In life, as you advance in your family, in business, in ministry, whatever it is, as you advance, the crowds are going to get louder. The signs are going to get bigger. But the attacks of the enemy are always going to be there. They're going to be more strategic, and they're going to try to pull you out of the path, get you off of the path that God has for you. I just entitled this word hooks. The enemy is always scheming. He's always planning an attack to get you. But I promise you this, if you keep focused on the path, the trail, the destiny that God has before you, you're never going to get caught up by the enemy. You're going to keep going and you're going to hit your mark in life. So I just encourage you, don't get so caught up with what's going on around you or the brightness of the lights or everything that you allow the enemy to come in, catch you with the hook, and pull you off of your God path. This is a word that will help keep somebody safe on the road to their destiny. This is the time right now throughout all of the globe that God needs His children on the right path, because we're about to see a mass harvest and we're going to see a powerful apostolic reformation hit our nation.